I mean, you've seen some overlap between UFC and boxing, and Conor McGregor fighting Mayweather was the biggest one. You also saw it with Tyson Fury and Francis Ngannou. Ngannou did well.
Right. They're not 60.
They're not 60.
You know, they're not.
Yeah.
They're not at that point where they don't look the same.
Yeah. I mean, what's your take on Conor McGregor? Dana White announced that McGregor's not going to fight this year again. He hasn't had a fight since 2021. I understand that he's rich. I get it. He's made tons of money. He can do whatever he wants. But with him kind of being the face of MMA for a long time, and he hasn't fought in 3 years, what's your take on that?
Again, I'm not in there, so I don't know what's going on or what's being said. But you got to think Dana White is doing what's best for MMA, for UFC, whatever that is. And then I'm not in there, so I don't know. But I do feel that we may have seen the last of Conor McGregor.
Oh, so you think it's a wrap?
I don't know. I just, that's a long time, man.
Yeah, he was supposed to fight Michael Chandler this past June and came and went.
And again, it's not that Conor doesn't have the ability to go in and beat anybody. I think it's him being able to have the discipline to be able to get off the fun times of the boats and the jet skis and the girls and whatever it is and train. That's hard to do when you have everything that you want and you don't have to.
Yeah.
That's I think that's where the issue is if he really wants to do that.
Yeah, he's just too rich, basically.
If he does, I got absolutely no doubt in his mind he could win again.
I mean, who do you think is the new face of MMA right now?
I think it's I think it's up there for anybody to take.
I
think there's a lot of guys at potential for that.
Yeah, I mean, I have a list of the top 10 highest paid UFC fighters of all time. Conor's number 1 at $39 million. Khabib is 2 at 23. Overeem 15. Anderson Silva 14. Arlovsky,
yeah.
sorry, I always mispronounce that. 11. Bisping 11. Santos 11. George St. Pierre 11. John Jones 11. And Donald Cerrone at right around 11.
11 what?
11 million.
Okay.
These numbers just seem kind of low overall.
Seem high to me. We never even got close to that.
Yeah, you guys didn't get a fraction of this, unfortunately.
Right.
You got to fight more fights.
Yeah.
And there's less rules.
It's like, yeah, those are good.
If you were to name your top 5 UFC fighters of all time.
I won't do that. There's too many good ones.
Most people say John Jones is number 1. Would you agree or disagree?
No, I won't. I wouldn't agree with that. I think, yeah, he's there. He's one of them. But no, there's just too many variables that go into different guys' opportunities and they're different, I guess, eras. They're just different. And just like with our era, no one even puts us even close to being in there, but they don't know the rule sets that we had then. They're just different. And what they have now as far as training and preparing for fights that we didn't have. So it's just different. It's a different thing to say the greats of all time. You know, Tito, when he was asked, you know, he put, you know, Hoist Gracie, myself, Randy Couture himself, you know, as Round Mush, because he's from that time. Like, we were it. It's changed now where there's now different fighters. They start now. I mean, I started when I was 29. Like, I started training when I was 29 years old.
Yeah.
A lot of guys didn't start training until they were in their late 20s when we did it, right? So it wasn't a whole, now guys are starting at 10. So it's a different concept when you talk about the greatest of what they had to work with. So you can't, it's like comparing Jim Brown to the running backs today and the yardage that they scored.
Well, I mean, but doesn't John Bones Jones have the best MMA record of all time?
That I don't know. I think he does. But records, again, if you want to just purely go on records, then put him up there. But I think it's also, too, in some weight divisions, you have, you know, 10 guys in that weight division that are all contending for a belt. And so if somebody wins out of those 10, somebody wins 75% of those fights, they had tougher competition for a longer period of time, how does that equate for them being one of the greatest fighters at that time? So there's a lot that goes into
Yeah.
actual weight classes and people that are competing in those weight classes.